I've been an atheist for about like 5 years or so.
Congratulations.
And, well, thank you very much.
Got me beat.
About a year ago, all right. So about a year ago, I started watching AXP and Atheist Experience, and they started helping me like form basically my ideas, my thoughts into like coherent statements. And then about 2 months ago, I found you guys because I believe Eric actually guest host over at AXP, and decided to check you guys out. And I just want to say thank you guys for all that you do. You really do make a difference. And I don't know if you, I don't know, I guess you guys get like 1 million emails a day, but I want to personally thank you. And thanks for taking my call. So,
that gives me the warm fuzzies. I still do answer every single person who emails in. It takes time. There's a backlog, but I will get to it.
I also look at them just less religiously.
Not religiously. Go ahead.
And
well, what I wanted to talk about was all right, Jamie, come on, man.
Go ahead, brother.
All right, so I've learned that you like to interrupt people. That's kind of cool. I guess it's endearing in some ways, but anyways,
wait, that's not true.
Is a no.
No, I was just I was going for the interrupt again.
Oh, the burn! The burn is real. Somebody call the ambulance.
All right, the show is good now.
Jamie got burned. All right, Mike, you are now one of my favorite people. Go on. What would you like to talk about?
All right, so my mother is a believer in the Christian God. She seems to be very extremely convinced that there is a God. She tends to believe more of the Christian teachings, but not everything in the Christian Bible. Now, she's one that won't allow like more than just a few sentences go by before mentioning a God, a spiritual meaning, faith, etc. Now, with this, with this train of logic, I'm trying to summarize so much into a short amount of time, but I see her breaking off a lot of relationships with family and stuff now. And I see that every now and then she contributes it to something like basically what God is telling her to do and what God wants, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. My little sisters live with her, two of them. They're teenagers. One's 18, one's like 15, 16. And she puts a lot of ideas in their heads, for example, about how like God is telling her all these things about family members. And thus it seems like they are then cut off from the rest of their family. So I really feel like I'm a full subscriber to you believe what you want, but as long as it's not hurting others. And in this case, I feel like it is. So I felt like I wanted to come and just start a conversation with her, basically trying out everything that I've been learning through you guys, Atheist Experience, and my newly found street epistemology. But I'm not too good at that just yet. But
takes practice.
That conversation lasted for like 6 hours, and it was just horrible. It was circular reasoning after circular reasoning. And look, to make this real short, I want some advice. She's one of those people who says she doesn't believe in an objective truth. And it really came down to that because she says God appears before her and tells her all this stuff, but she then acknowledges how these radical Muslims and all that, and how Allah appears before them and tells them what to do and bomb the Twin Towers, so on and so forth. And she won't acknowledge that. Well, she says, well, that's their truth, and I have my truth, and I just don't know how to handle this. And she doesn't like people interrupting her in order to clarify certain things. Like when she brings up the word spiritual, I ask her to stop and explain that, and then we go down a rabbit hole because she can't, and she never gets to say her full testimony. So anyways, I want to know your guys' thoughts. I thought about having her call in, and she kind of somewhat agreed to it, but she's not too sure yet.
Well,
you said she doesn't like to be interrupted.
That's right. And I noticed that you guys do that way less, other than a joke from Jamie,
or 20,000.
Right.
Matt just poked in and like, is this guy kidding? Jamie? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I got a stare.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's heard of Matt Dillahunty, and she's like, nope, I'm not going to do that.
Well,
so I was like, all right, talk even.
She's absolutely welcome to call in, and actually, if she called in today, we have room on the line.
Yeah.
We would talk to her today if you called.
Hand her the phone. No.
Go ahead.
Well, just briefly, it is kind of frustrating because people want to just tell their story. That's happened with callers before on the phone, where they're like, oh, it's only a page that I'm gonna read you. And then 10 minutes later, you're trying to get them to summarize it. But I've had a reaction with a person that I know and am very close with to, I think it was about something else entirely. They made a statement and I was like, well, no, that's not true because X, Y, and Z. And their response was one of offense. Like their little words were like, excuse me, no, you're wrong, as if that is a slur of some kind. Which also, it was not the words I used, whatever. I'm reliving an argument that I had about being able to contradict someone. It can be very difficult trying to talk with someone that isn't used to critically analyzing anything, right? Like when you said, when you were telling us that you brought up the objection of, yeah, faith makes people fly planes into towers as well. And you told us that her response was, well, that's their truth. Yeah, when you say you're getting into street epistemology, is it just on the YouTube, or do you have the book, A Manual for Creating Atheists, as well?
No, I've not read into the book just yet. I listened to, I hate the book. I don't know his name, the real popular one. You've had him on as a guest. I listened to his podcast.
Oh,
Anthony Magna.
Yeah. Anthony's good.
Yeah,
there's a section in the book that talks about the different kinds of doxastic closure and where people are in their mental shackles of faith, etc., to put it bluntly and aggressively. And that's one of them, and that's one of them where they need your help the most.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and so the SE approach, the street epistemology approach, and I'm also going to say for everybody else who's listening, if you want to check it out, the book is A Manual for Creating Atheists by Peter Boghossian, and it's a good book. He's really intense, and if you want to check out one of the best street epistemologists that I've ever seen, you can either check out Anthony Magnabosco or Dan the Man, who we're super excited about. Objectively Dan, yeah. Actually, they're all in a group together, and it's really amazing. And if you want to have that conversation with your family, that is a really good approach to have. But I would say you're not going to get there in one conversation. You're not going to get there in 20 conversations. It is a long series of time of coming up against something, then going back and chewing on it, coming up, and going back and chewing on it. And it's every piece you can move forward just a little bit as you're able to do that. And I know that if you've seen this show, you know that I'm going to say model the behavior that you want. So anytime that you have the opportunity to say, I don't know, and that's, do that. And also show that it's not a shameful thing to say, I don't know. It's not a shameful thing to say, I was wrong about this. Because every time you get the chance to be wrong, that is your chance to learn the right way. And that's awesome.
Right. No, I definitely agree. I've been doing that. My sisters, they actually they have a laugh at it. I kind of make it like a fun thing. Like they'll mention something like auras, whatever that thing is around people's bodies and stuff like that. And they'll talk they'll talk as if it's like fact, as if the sun just rose. And I'll say, hey, how do you know that? And they're like, oh, man, here goes Kyle. And they're, oh, man, you know what? I called in with a fake name, and there goes my real name. So, all right, well, that's okay.
It's like, oh, here he goes again, trying to get us to think about things.
Mike.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Mike.
Liar.
That's all right. I was
you with your critical
that
thinking.
This would never come around and she would see this and stuff like that. But it's actually been a really good conversation, so I really don't care. So,
cheers.
My name's Kyle. I'm actually over here in Florida. So,
Florida. Cool. I'm Eric. I'm in Austin.
I'm Jamie.
Yeah. This is Ted.
Austin.
He's been going by Jamie Boone. His name is
Ted. My real name is
Ted Delonte. Kyle, it's really good talking to you, brother, and definitely keep going. It can be frustrating, and realistically, they may never get there. They may never get there, but just keep being the awesome dude that you obviously are. Be a
thank you.
Be a good influence and show that. And the more you do, the more people are going to catch on. People in the community that I came from in Southern California, it was very largely Catholic. And I said this story right around Christmas time. I have a Santa get up. I actually have done the Santa thing for a long time. And when people found out that I was an atheist, they blew their freaking minds because they couldn't put that image of an atheist that they had in their head together with this guy, Eric, that they know that
is smiley. Just look at that face. Does it do anything but smile?
And you know, around Christmas time, I'd go on my lunch break and go read stories to kids in classrooms.
Yeah. And then the kids found out. Fundraise. One of them was like, Santa is a lie.
So, I mean, just do that. Be that good person, and you will be that image of that people think of when they think of an atheist. It's awesome.
There are people
I appreciate you guys for having me on the show.
Yeah, well, thanks for calling in. I was just going to say, there are people that I talk to that are like, oh, I could never do what you do. There's nothing I can do for the movement. You know, people know that I'm an atheist, but that's it. And it's like, that's a huge thing. I mean, don't be out if you can't. I know you're calling in with a fake name, but there's a reason that people think about it, so.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I know we're trying to move on to other colors, but be the person you want to model. And obviously, my Facebook personality definitely doesn't represent who my actual personality is, who I am one-on-one, and I should probably start working on that. But because I post a lot of those memes that are really in-your-face type stuff because some people need that. I needed that. That's how I converted. It was all in my face. But what she told me was the standard argument that atheists have no morals. And I was like, well, I'm an atheist. I've been an atheist for years. I don't go around hating and killing. And she's like, are you sure? Or she said something like
are you sure that you don't go around killing?
You know?
Right. And I turned around on her. I was like, well, you're Christian. How do you know that you're, how do I know you're not going around raping and killing? And that kind of just ended that conversation right there. So,
yeah. It's offensive when you say it.
I'm looking forward to her talking to you guys. I feel like you guys might be able to bring stuff to her attention that's not so as aggressive as I am. So.
Oh, well, we can be aggressive, but the difference is she doesn't have to deal with us afterward.
Yeah. Well, also, in some ways it's easier to talk to someone that you're not close to, right? Like I can be very patient and calm with most people, but there's like a very small number of people that I've known basically my entire life where in a way that I wouldn't ever on a show, I will just respond to them at one point like, no, that's utter bullshit. Like, stop it. I don't want you to not bring that up around me. I want to be able to tell you every time you think about that that's bullshit. But, you know, that's it's different. It's different. I have to be nice to people that I'm not friends with.
Yeah.
I don't know. Thanks for calling in, Mike.
Yeah, definitely. You take care, brother.
No, all right, see you guys.
Bye.
See you.